out. Bobby Jindal. It has been said by the critics of the Republican Party that neither he nor the chairman of the GOP look much like the Republican Party, but they're just trying to look that way.
Well, I think in Jindal's case, he is somebody who is exciting a lot of Republicans because of just that point. He's not an old white guy, Shep, and this is a party that I think recognizes they need to sort of broaden their tent. And the fact that he is young, yes, he is Indian American, is seen by a lot of folks as a positive thing. Are there going to be Republicans who might have heartburn over that? Well, perhaps, but I think that those numbers are increasingly diminished. But look, here's the bottom line. He's 37. Even if he takes a pass in 2012 and he can run 2016, he's going to be, what, mid-40s?
What is it about Bobby Jindal, but aside from his ethnic background, the fact that he's changed his religion, that he appears to be progressive in some manner, what is it about him that has part of the party at least fired up?
He's something new, and he's young, and I think this is a party that's trying to find itself.
Sounds like you just described Barack Obama.
In the post-Bush era.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think that look, there is some of that there of we have to find somebody who's sort of like Barack Obama. Young, articulate, new, can sort of inspire a younger generation. I think that's part of it. But here's why I think, because he's somebody who is all those things, but he's also a traditional conservative, both fiscally and socially. He doesn't sort of try and round the corners at all. And if you're part of the conservative base of the party, he's someone that you'd be interested in.
What is his reasoning? Because a lot of people don't understand this. I'm not accepting your stimulus money. Right. Louisiana, I'm from Mississippi. I know you're from down there too, and we can use money down there. Louisiana and Mississippi have said no. It's a political play, purely, isn't it?
Well, I think he does have concerns over the fact that taking this one chunk of it, the unemployment money, could in fact tie their hands down the road. So I think that is certainly part of it. But there's no question that setting yourself up to be a leader of the GOP and being a governor and turning down what is the sort of centerpiece of this new Democratic president's bill doesn't look too bad.
It sounds like you've gotten to kind of what the core of all of this is. The Democrats, in a period of crisis, realize that now is the opportunity to bring in really smart folks and try to solve the problems. The insurance industry, the banking industry, mortgages, foreclosures, unemployment, and all the rest. Bring in big minds and allow big government to try to solve it. Where Republicans are sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if it works, and if it doesn't, they're standing by with "I told you so" to come in and rescue everyone. Is that kind of where all the political...
There is some truth to that. This is a gamble on both sides, Shep. The fact is, if this stimulus does work, if some of the intervention in mortgages and banks does work, and the market starts coming back, and people start going back to work next year, the Democrats can claim the credit, and the Republicans sort of have this appearance of the party of no.
But this idea of everybody getting together to try to fix what is a cataclysmic time is just something for discussion. It's not something for reality.
It's not actually happening up here, certainly. Yeah. There's not actual active bipartisanship. At least there was not on the stimulus. But look, if there is progress now, I think the Democrats can claim credit for it. If not, the Republicans, though, on the sidelines next year can make the case.
Jonathan, good to see you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, sir.